So this is going to be fun. We need to get into the arable field that's just over there. So, and the Black Cat to Tempsford is closed southbound. So everyone is using the local road. So I need to get so I can stop the traffic so they can get in the field entrance. So we'll be glad when the Black Cat's done. Next weekend we're not going anywhere. We have got 3 major road closures, so if you're in Bedfordshire next weekend, just keep away from the Black Cat. So we've got the combine serviced. I've washed the windows so they're nice and clean. Last night in the sunset they were not very interesting. Richard did say, well, there's a set of sunglasses in there, but I don't think they would have done much difference at all. So windows are cleaned, she's been blown off, full of diesel and service. So we've moved to the next field. I've just shot home to get the tractor and trailer so I can go on corn cart. Not like me to be on corn cart, but all hands on deck. We need to get everything done. I suppose there's a saying, make hay while the sun shines, but we don't want to make hay obviously, so we're harvesting. Another tank full being unloaded. Sun shining. What more can you ask for? Right, first things first. That wing mirror, I can't see a lot out of it, so I just need to tweak it slightly because it's imperative you know what's around you at all times. That one's fine. As I say, I think I need to move that one just slightly. Flashing light, because obviously you have to have them anyway on the A1, so because it's a major road you need to have the flashing light on. We always put them on anyway if we're doing the local roads, because it just gives that little bit of extra hazard warning to the drivers, because they don't expect a slow moving tractor to be about. We should in theory be on the combine next, because unfortunately it's a case of opening and closing the manual tailgate. I can get it open, I'm just not quite strong enough to get the two. I can do one side, but the other side I can't get the lever up and drop the ring down to hold the tailgate down. So I think Richard's going to swap over and do that, and I'm going on the combine. So wish me luck. I've got a little bit of a trip now on bounce. Obviously we all know why bounce is bounce. So I normally take this opportunity for the annual catch-up, mainly going weather. Well, what can we say this year? Who would have expected on the 21st of September we were going to have a monsoon that weekend? I can't remember exactly how much rain we had, but Woburn, which is 20 miles away from us, they had 380 mil in those few days. And their water was the water that then came down the Ivell to the back of the farm. So we had fields that we wouldn't normally expect to flood, but because they had so much rain down that part of the county, it came down a different river than what it would normally do. So yeah, so the cows I think came in on the 22nd or 23rd of September, which is obviously unheard of because the floods were out. We couldn't physically put them out to graze. So the poor girls, they had an extremely long winter. I know we'd had a long winter the year before because of, oh, it wasn't nice in April, was it? March, April was bad, and the floods kept coming out, so it was never brilliant in the spring for them to go out. So I think they had, I did calculate how many nights they'd actually slept in, and it was longer than what we would have hoped, but farming, we're always fighting against the weather. So that Friday, before it rained on the Saturday, Richard had said he could do with an extra person to drive a tractor on the Monday, because we were getting there nearly everything there was probably going to be an influx of floodplain. So all hands on deck. And we did actually work from home for a couple of days because the A421 at Marston Mortain, I don't know whether you heard it on the news, but there's one place where the road ducks down whilst the flyover or the road goes across, so it drops down and the water got in the pumps stopped. They had thousands and thousands of litres of water that they had to get moved. So we do a bit of glossary on farming. So first of all, you've got your plant. So your roots, stem, which is known as the straw, and your ears. And then if we take an ear off and we put it between our hands, that's your chaff. So all the grains are in their own little pocket, just to keep it nice and dry. So then you've got your grain. And mixing with that is a little bit of chaff. So yeah, it's not a bad sample. Would help if I knew what variety I think it is. I think it's possibly Nelson, which I think is a biscuit wheat. So hopefully if it makes the grade. So once it's been harvested and goes into store, then we'll send it away for analysis to make sure the quality is there. Obviously, quality, you need a certain amount of protein, gluten, and then if you're using it for bread, you need the gluten content in it so that expands the bread. I'm really trying to remember my home economics A level here. So in the autumn, we drill the crops. So that's when we put the wheat in the ground, it chits and it grows. Once it starts growing, it puts out tillers. You're asking me, what's tillers? So instead of just being one single plant, one single straw stem, this one's actually got 4 tillers. So we've got 4 stems that have gone up, and connected to those, you'd have 4 ears of wheat. So if you hear somebody saying, oh, it's not tillered very well, it means it's only put 1 or 2 straws up. So it's not very good. So the more tillers you get, the more ears you get, the more yield. Choose your desired gear and forward speed. Cross your fingers. There's always a knack. Trying to get it in the centre of the trailer. Don't put it over either side. If you can empty on the move, it does actually save a lot of time because the combine's not stopping each end of the field or each time it wants to empty. So if we can empty on the move, it's a time saver. Unfortunately, all the fields are a little bit on the bumpy side this season because of the conditions that got put in the autumn. Obviously, we had so much rain. Some fields were. We managed to get them drilled. Let's put it that way. So we were able to get some winter crops. But obviously, as a result, we weren't able to roll it. So here we are on some spring wheat. Not a lot of difference between spring and winter wheat, other than the ears look a lot smaller and finer, and the straw is a lot finer as well. So why did we put in spring wheat? Well, spring wheat had to be drilled because it was too wet to put winter wheat in the autumn. So obviously we weren't able to drill this in the autumn because a large area of this, actually over there, sat in water for months, well weeks anyway. because a lot of water, as I said earlier about the river, the Ivel is just over the other side over there, so it's not actually that far away. So this had water on that we wouldn't normally expect to have down here. So we put it in the spring. Once we drilled it, it didn't have any rain. It didn't have any rain for absolutely months. So you say, what's the effect of not having any rain? So we were looking at the tillers on the winter wheat over there, and obviously you could see some that have actually tilled about 4 times. So let's just take a random sample. Random sample enough? From the winter wheat. So let's, from the spring wheat. So let's have a look. So single tiller, double tiller, single tiller, single tiller. So why the single tillers? It's because it was so dry. The fact that it didn't have any rain for 2-3 months just didn't actually get growing. Obviously it's grown, so we've got a 1 stalk. Obviously, see if it's a dry year, the wheat tries to put its roots down so it gets to the water. If it's a wet year, all the soil around it is wet anyway. So if it's too wet, then you run the risk of losing the crop, because, well, you know, if you put seeds in the ground or somewhere and it's too wet, what does it do? It rots. So then you've got areas of bare land with no crops in. So farming, we're fighting the weather is one of the main factors, as well as some of the other factors. So this is a disadvantage of not being able to roll in the autumn. Once we drilled, we get some stones and some clots sticking up in the ground. I love the fact I get the short straw of the field with so many headlands, well, corners, let's put it that way. So I've just decided I'm going to get the little short work done out the way now rather than later, and then I can work my way across. Not got too many rows left of the long work, and then I start reducing in size as I go that way. You have to wonder how the shape fields get the shapes they are, whether it's because of ditches, but I don't know. The neighbour's field where he's baling is, I think he's got as many corners as this one, and a donkey's hind leg in it. So yeah, or whether it's smaller pieces that people have bought over the years and matched them together to make a bigger bit, who knows. Problem in the good old days, you'd have had small fields because of horses, then small tractors. I suppose then as the equipment's got bigger and bigger, then the field sizes have had to get bigger, because who'd be wanting to have a Lexion 8900 with a 50-foot header or whatever? You'd never even get into some fields. I see the neighbours are super duper busy. We've got a John Deere tractor with a Massey Ferguson Heston baler on, and then there's a JCB, looks like a 4220 with a Heath bale chaser. I've got lots of bales to pick up anyway. I don't know whether that's going into animal feed or into the power station, so because there's a couple of power stations that are powered by straw. I suppose it's a renewable energy really, isn't it? It's a byproduct. If you hadn't got the cows like we've got, obviously having the cows, we need all the straw ourselves for feed and bedding throughout the winter and summer, if you've gone through a dry spell that we've just had. Some animals have actually had some straw as a bit of a buffer. But so unfortunately it's rather a long cart today. We're having to go all the back way home because they've made it now so you can't actually go south from the Black Cat roundabout. It's all coned off, and we could go north up to Wyboston and then go back south again. But the problem with that is you're probably going to be sat in a traffic jam, because I don't know about you, every time I hear traffic news on any radio station, whether it's the local 3 counties or Radio 2, invariably it's there's delays at the Black Cat roundabout. Please allow up to 10-15 minutes additional time. So yeah, it will be nice when it's done, but we've just got to go through another nearly 2 years of roadworks. I've been avoiding it the last few weeks, and I was actually quite surprised today when I came up how much it's changed. Well, that's it, folks. That's Harvest 25 combining video. So we hope you enjoyed it. Guess what? You've got a year's wait for the next one, hopefully. I will try and do some more throughout the year. It's just so difficult having a full-time job and only helping out at weekends when it's the standard Sunday afternoon routine. But if you've got anything you'd like me to do a video on, put a note in the comments. I'll have a think about it. So I hope you enjoyed that. I will see you next year. Bye for now.